Hello and welcome to the next edition of the BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on digital transformation success stories. Stay with us now to learn how agile businesses are fending off disruption in favor of innovation. Our next public sector digital transformation success story examines how local governments in Norway benefit from a common platform approach for safe and efficient public data distribution. We'll now learn how Norway's municipalities will gain a common shared pool for data on young people's health and other information, thanks to a streamlined benefits of hyperconverged infrastructure and microservices. Here to help us discover the benefits of a common and modern platform for smarter governments is Frode Schudvedsen. He's the head of development for the FINT project in Norway. Welcome, Frode.
Okay, thank you.
Glad to have you here. What are the top trends that you see are driving interest in having a common platform for public information in your country?
The driver is that we need to make it more efficient, the interaction between the government and the community. So we need to make infrastructure that we can build automatic solutions to the citizen on. Yeah, that's the main driver.
And what's been holding up this common platform approach? How splintered has it been and why?
I don't know if anything has held it up. It's just the time. It's now that it starts. Yeah.
What sort of environment are you addressing with this in terms of the heterogeneity and different systems? What's the problems that you need to overcome in order to create a more common approach?
If I understand your question correctly, it's one of the biggest issues is that we buy a business application like HR, like school administration systems and so on, and everyone's happy. They have a nice UI that you can put in the data and so on, and then we need to use that data in other processes, and that's where the problem is, and that's what the FINT project is all about, because then we need to have the producers to create APIs and so on, and it costs a lot of money. It is a variable of quality and so on. And what we're doing here is that we create the common API in the horizontal of all those business applications, and that will then give us the ability to use our data more efficiently.
Describe for us, if you would, what the FINT project is and why this is so important for public health.
As I said, it's all about taking the power back regarding the information we're handling from the vendors. And also there's an initiative in Norway in the government that talks about getting control over all the information you're handling. And the thought with the FINT project is that we need to get hold of all the information, describe it, define it, and then make it available in APIs, both for public use and also for internal use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what sort of information are we dealing with here, and why is it important for the general public health? What type of information?
It's all kind of information. It's school information about how the everyday processes, the schedule, the grades, and so on. And all that is necessary to create good services, both for the teachers, for the students, and also make those data available so that we can have innovations from businesses that want to create new and better solutions for us.
So when you're tasked now with creating this platform, you mentioned wanting to have an API-driven microservices type of an architecture. What did you look for in order to maintain simplicity and cost efficiency in the underlying architecture, the underlying systems?
Since this is making models and APIs over a lot of systems, we needed something that was agile so that we can roll out updates continuously. That's the most important stuff. And also when we want to roll out updates frequently, we also need a way to roll back if something fails quickly. So that's definitely the most important thing.
Seems like DevOps is an important thing. You want your developers and your operators to be in sync. You want easy progression from a development environment to a production environment. Hyperconverged infrastructure is an important new element for DevOps. How did you come into understanding about hyperconverged, and why is that appealing?
The reason is that we're running this on one of the county council's data centers. So we wanted to separate it from their other production environment. And also we have a need to be able to scale this services pretty quickly. And then we talked to HP, and that was the solution they suggested. Yeah, that's pretty much why. We're in the late area of the testing at the moment, and we're going into production in the start of January. At the moment, we're looking into SimpliVity. We haven't started that process yet, but we will have some nodes that we will test and evaluate. So at the moment we're just running it on the ordinary production environment at the data center. Yeah.
Containers is an important part of moving towards your API approach. Is that another technology that you're comfortable with, and why?
Well, yeah, definitely we're very comfortable with that. And the reason is, one of the biggest reason is that when we use containers, we isolate the application. The whole container is the application. And then we are able to test the code that we're going to put in production. That's one of the main drivers. The second one is that it's easy to roll out and it's easy to roll back, as I said before. And also we have developers in and out of the project, and containers makes it easy for them to get into the environment they're working in. It's not that much they need to install on a computer to get a working environment. Yeah.
A lot of IT organizations are trying to reduce the amount of money and time they spent on maintaining existing applications so that they can put more emphasis into creating new applications like what you're doing. How does containers, how does microservices and API-driven applications and services help you flip that equation from an emphasis on maintenance to an emphasis on innovation?
Our experience is that the container approach is very close to the DevOps environment, so that the lines from code to production is very small compared to what we did before, when we had some ops guy installing the stuff on servers. Now we have a very rapid way from code to production. Yeah.
With the success of the Finch project, would you see that you'd be extending this to other types of data and applications in other public sector activities or processes? So if you're successful here with this level of information, is this a model that you think has extensibility into other public sector applications and data sets?
Yes, definitely. There is, at the moment, it's the 19 county councils that's in this project. It just started a process of being able to introduce this to all the around 400 municipalities. So that's the next step, and that's the same data sets in that we want to share with them or extend. But there's also initiatives with central registers in Norway that we will add value to those using our approach. I think that's about in the next year or so.
Yeah. That could have some very beneficial impacts, very good payoffs.
Yeah, it could. Also, we're doing quite a nice thing. We're having a POC in Oslo where we have made an API over the locks on doors, so that we can have one API and you can open multiple locking systems. So that's another way to use it.
It shows the wide applicability of this process and approach. Yeah, cool. Any advice, Frode, for other organizations that are examining more of a container, DevOps, API-driven architecture? What might you tell them as they consider taking this journey?
Well, I will definitely recommend it. It's simple, it's agile. The main thing with containers is to separate the storage, the state from the application. That's That's probably what we worked most with, to make it scalable, write the application so it's scalable, and separate the data from the presentation layer. Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been exploring how local governments in Norway are benefiting from a common platform approach to safe public data distribution, and we've learned about the many benefits of having a common approach using containers to gather more information and integrate more applications in a cost-effective manner. So please join me in thanking our guests. We've been here with Frode Schutvinsen. He's the head of development for the Fint project in Norway. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And a big thank you to our audience as well for joining us for this BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer Digital Transformation Success Story discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Intra Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise-sponsored interviews. Thanks again for listening. Please pass this content along to your IT community, and do come back next time.